Today, we're talking about the groundbreaking approach to pain management and empowerment through active life. Welcome to Top Rated Gym, the podcast that helps ambitious gym owners build professional, sustainable fitness businesses. I'm your host, Andres Viric, and with me every episode, we deliver actionable insights, expert advice, and success stories to help you grow your membership, streamline your operations, and achieve financial stability. Even if you struggled with marketing challenges, operational overwhelm, or financial limitations in the past. Let's get started. Today, guys, I have extraordinary guest, Sean Pastuch, the founder and CEO of Active Life, a company that's revolutionizing the way we approach pain and fitness. Sean believes the traditional medical model often falls short, especially when it comes to managing physical pain without addressing the emotional impact. Through Active Life, Sean is helping thousands of people get out of pain without missing a gym, while also educating fitness professionals and healthcare providers to do the same. With a deep commitment to bridging the gap between fitness and healthcare, Sean's mission is to empower lives of freedom and have a legacy that inspires others. We are excited to dive into his innovative approach and learn how he transformed the industry. Welcome to the show, Sean.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you bringing me onto the show. That was a good intro. I haven't gotten an intro like that before.
I'm glad you like it. It's all true, my friend.
Thank you, Andre.
Let's talk about this big gap between fitness and healthcare. You've spoken about significant gap between these two industries and how you aim to bridge the gap. Would you share a story of a client where this gap was significantly evident and how you and Active Life helped them regain their freedom without compromising their health?
I can, but I think it's easier for the listeners to tell their own story. And I'll share how they can do that. And then if you want, I'll share one of ours. What I want everyone to do right now is think about somebody in your family who's over the age of 40. They might be 40, 50, 60, 70, whatever the age is. And they have all of the reasons why they want to get healthy. They want to get fit, but they don't know how to start or where to go or how to overcome the excuses that they have for why they can't be successful. I want you to ask yourself for a moment, if they're not local to you, let's pretend they live a few states away or a few countries away. How do you decide how to help them find the person who's going to help them wherever they are? Do you go online and look up gym near you and just tell them to go join that gym? Certainly not. Do you tell them they need to go see a doctor or a physical therapist? Certainly not. Do you start looking at specific personal trainers and starting to figure out who could meet them where they need to be met? Perhaps, what would you be looking for? And when you start to have these conversations with yourself, thinking about somebody who you love, it becomes very apparent that the fitness industry is best positioned to help people who are already healthy pursue abs, ass, and ego. The medical system is best set up to help people who would otherwise die not. The medical system is not set up to improve quality of life. And the fitness system is not set up to understand why people don't come to it. So, once you can see the need, once you can see that person in your mind for whom there really isn't a great solution, you understand exactly who I and Active Life stands to help. Now, for a very specific story for you, I'll give you one very close to home. My mom. My mom is very physically active. She wants to be physically active. She's almost 70 years old. She'd kill me for saying that. She's 66. Oh, I probably should have said that either. Anyway, my mom takes a lot of steps every day, and she started to develop plantar fasciitis and Achilles tendonitis. And so now what starts to happen when somebody identifies their exercise modality as walking a lot, just being very on their feet and active, is all of a sudden that's gone. How is she supposed to stay active like that? So now we start to think about, okay, well, the first thing she did was go to the doctor, the podiatrist, who suggested orthotics, specialized walking shoes, and perhaps a cortisone shot. If you know anything about those interventions, what you know is that orthotics, specialized shoes, are akin to wearing crutches for the rest of your life. They do not strengthen the area that needs to be strengthened. They do not address root cause. They simply act as an intervention that allows you to move more freely without pain, as long as you have that with you. So what does she do in the summer? How does she go to the beach? How does she hang out around the pool? How should she walk around her house? Those are things that there simply aren't answers to, because those products can't be worn on bare feet. And so they're not a viable solution long-term for the kind of life my mom wants to be able to live. Physical therapy. She can go to physical therapy and they're going to treat her until she's able to do activities of daily living. The insurance companies will pay physical therapists, chiropractors, medical doctors until a patient can achieve what's called activities of daily living. There is a long list, if you go look them up, for what an activity of daily living is. It's being able to walk a given distance that would not inspire you. It's being able to do your own bathing. It's being able to sleep through the night without waking up due to pain. It's being able to drive to and from work. It is not being able to go on a hike. It is not being able to go lounge on the beach. It is not being able to play with her grandkids who she loves to chase around. So the medical system doesn't have an answer for my mom, because it would never get her to the place where she could actually explore all the things in her life that she wants. So the answers from the medical system become, if it hurts, don't do it. Now we look to the fitness industry, because she wants to stay active. And the typical fitness professional is going to tell her, anything that hurts, we can find another way to do it without the pain. That's fantastic. The problem is it's the same answer that the medical provider gave. It's not going to create a world in which she no longer has the pain, where she no longer has the problem, where she understands where it came from, where she understands how to eliminate it, where she understands how to know when she's creating the opportunity for a setback. None of that's going to happen. And so she can get fit in a compromising way. She can get out of pain in a compromising way. But nobody has gotten to the root of her problem and given her the life that she wants. And that's where active life comes in. That is who we specialize in. Most people who come to us because they think they're coming to us because they have an ache or a pain or an overwhelm to getting back into health and fitness. But that's not why they come at all. They come because they're afraid to lose their life. What's that?
I said, usually when people get a pain, they make excuse of not working out. Oh, I can't.
But perhaps.
My arm hurts, my knee hurts, and that's
perhaps
even worse.
Sometimes, but the reality is that nobody seeks a doctor for pain. Nobody seeks a trainer for fitness. Everybody is seeking those people so that they can preserve the life that they had in mind. Nobody comes to the gym the first day that they look down and see that they can't see their abs anymore. They wait until it's too mentally painful to look down anymore. Nobody goes to the doctor the first time they feel pain. They think, I'll rest this, it will get better. They go to the doctor when they start to fear that this pain is going to inhibit the kind of life I want to be able to live. People take action to run away from fear, not towards ambition.
Yes.
And so it's our responsibility. What we do with active life is to be able to meet people where they are and to be able to help them understand the pain behind the pain that they're able to present. Because if you say to somebody like my mom, we're going to help you get out of Achilles and foot pain. Great. The second she starts to feel better, she might stop. Or if she goes 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks and doesn't get better, she might stop. But when it becomes, we're going to help you get back to playing with your grandkids. We're going to help you get back to working and being on your feet all day long without having to think about your Achilles or foot pain. We're going to get back to you going for walks on the beach in the town that you moved to specifically for access to the beach without pain. That's a much stronger anchor than we're going to get rid of Achilles pain.
Wow, man. What you're saying is absolutely differentiated between everything that everybody else speaks. People come to gym to lose the weight, to feel better, and so on. But pain is the killer that prevents people even from thinking about gym and prevents people from having a quality of life they deserve.
They don't come to the gym. They don't come to the gym to lose weight.
They don't. So where this came about, like what point of time did you decide this is the way to do it?
I want to make sure people understand what I just said, and I'll get into that. Nobody is coming to you to get fit. People are coming to you because they want to feel the way that they believe fit people feel. Mm-hmm. So the reason why it's difficult for a lot of gyms to get leads, to close enough clients, to charge enough membership, is because they're only solving the surface level problem that the person is able to communicate. So let me give you an example here, and then I'll explain to you where this all came from. In my town of Long Beach, New York, it's a very mixed neighborhood. Right? The real income in this town is about $80,000 a year. We're in New York, so the taxes are high and the home prices are high. So there's not a ton of expendable income in our town. There's some, but there's not a ton. The second most expensive gym in town is about $175 a month. We're $830. The second most expensive gym in town charges about $85 for a personal training session. We are $150. Every other gym in town is thinking about where they can get their next lead from. We have a wait list. So the question I would ask you is, how is it possible that the place that is charging 5 times more than the next most expensive place in town and twice as much for the high-end service as the next most expensive place in town, the one that has the wait list? And the answer is because we are solving the problem that the people genuinely have that nobody else is speaking to. And when they finally hear somebody speak to the problem that they have, it is the most overwhelming feeling of refreshment and excitement that they've had in years. And they have no choice but to work with us. So the answer to where this all came from is I was operating a CrossFit gym and a chiropractic clinic. And I found myself at the fortunate time in my life where I had Olympic medalists, professional athletes, CrossFit Games champions, power executives, and everyday people who could afford it, frankly, flying out to see me in my clinic and then have me write exercise program design for them when they would leave. So they would fly out for 3 days. We would evaluate for 6 hours. They would go home and I would be responsible for their exercise program design as a means to intervene in whatever problem they were dealing with and get them to health and fitness at the same time. Through doing this with some really influential people who, by the way, found me organically through other people who also worked with me. Their trainers, their coaches started to ask, how are you doing this from a distance when I wasn't able to do it locally? And by the way, to their credit, that's what makes them great. Instead of seeing me as a threat, they saw me as an opportunity that they could lean into to get better. So I started to help their coaches, who started to send me more of their clients, who started to tell their friends, who started to come to me also. And pretty soon coaches were asking, how are you doing this? And so we hosted a seminar for coaches from around the world. 60 coaches from 5 different countries and 22 different states came to Island Park, New York for a seminar for 2 days. I realized pretty quickly 2 days wasn't going to do it. And so we evolved it to 12 weeks. And then I realized pretty quickly 12 weeks wasn't going to do it either. So we evolved it to 13 months. And then I realized pretty quickly that 13 months was good for the core education. But if you wanted to specialize in specific populations, it was going to take even more. And so we built all of that out. And what we started to find was that the issue we consistently ran into was that we were developing trainers who were operating within a system that a gym owner who didn't understand what we were helping their trainer do had set up. And so there started to be this level of friction where a trainer found, I am more valuable than this gym understands. And this gym will not reward me. This gym will not allow me to charge more than $65, $70 for a training session. And the gym will only allow me to keep 35 to 45% of that session. I can't make a living here. The coaches started leaving. So we realized we owe it to gym owners to start to develop them too, so that they could see a world in which this kind of client is seeking them out. This kind of trainer is attracted to work for them. Profits are high. Trainers are making career income, and the clients are getting more than they ever expected. That's the business we help people set up. That's how we got to here. The reason we opened our brick and mortar was simply so that we could have a place to demonstrate what it is that we do, how we do it, and prove the concept. I opened it in a town I never would have opened it in if I wanted to be fast to success. And now we have people flying out to see us as clients and people flying out to see us as coaches and as gym owners just to see how the place operates so they can take some of it back with them when they go.
I mean, what you're doing, your mission is incredible for people who are in pain. But listening to you, this should be for everybody who is not in pain, to prevent the pain, to live a long life, So you can do at 100 what you're doing today, right?
It is for everybody. When I say for everybody, it is for everybody who refuses to compromise in any area of their life. And by compromise, what I mean is take the low energy approach to solve a problem incompletely. So think of it this way. I define compromise as a low energy way to resolve conflict incompletely. Somebody says to you, you don't look so good. Are you okay? You say, I'm fine. When you're not, that's a compromise. Why are you unwilling to tell that person the truth? Is it that you're uncomfortable with it? Or is it that you are uncomfortable that they can handle it? Either way, that's a compromise. The people who come to us refuse to do that. They are the person who, if you're going to ask a question to them, you better be ready for the answer. Most of the people who come to us are in some kind of pain because it's obvious to them they have a problem. But most people who come to us have their pain resolved within 3 to 6 months. And they stay with us significantly longer than that. And so what becomes very obvious to them once they're here, online or in person, is that I didn't come here for the pain at all.
Is there any age restrictions? Like how far? I mean, you use your mom example, and it's a great example. Is there any age restrictions? How old can somebody be before they can't exercise? I mean, it's very simple, probably
No
question, but I want
No, because all that indicates is if there were an age restriction, for example, it indicates a small thinking about what exercise is. Exercise doesn't have to be lifting weights. It doesn't have to be squatting. It doesn't have to be running. Exercising can be any activity that elevates your heart rate, builds strength on purpose. And so we don't even think of it as exercise. We think of it as activity. We have people who claim activity. And so the age limitation, frankly, is on the lower side for us because there's a lot of intellectual and emotional and social work that needs to be done. And oftentimes a teenager or certainly an adolescent is not prepared for that.
And I love what you're saying. I did something very similar with my mom, who is 76 now. She came to me 5 years ago to Florida and she couldn't barely walk. Steps, penguin. Tuk, tuk, tuk. She couldn't even make a big step. And she always had to have her cane and a walk with a wheelchair and so on. And it hurt me. Like, my God, this was athletic woman and now she can't even walk. So gladly I have some connections and I know some people. So I put her in a couple therapies without knowing. I had to bribe her with the lunches and excursions around the city and so many. Like, oh, we got to just stop by my client. And interestingly, I had only for 40 days as a visiting Florida. She changed totally. And a simple, like totally simple exercises. We call it exercises, but it's like activities. That she could walk normally, walk straight instead of leaning on the side, make bigger steps, improve the balance. And I was like, oh my God, there's a hope. And she found that there's a hope. And she said, okay, now I can do this on myself. And she continued with this program with the people I recommended.
What happens?
It's irreversible. All those pains.
What happens is as soon as somebody sees it's possible for me to have more life.
Oh yeah.
They can't unsee it. And so your mom, the hard thing for a lot of people is the amount of energy necessary to start. And so what happens in the fitness industry is we oftentimes believe when somebody makes it their priority, they will come to see me. And that's true. But it's also incumbent upon us to help them understand why it should be a priority. And so sometimes somebody will come to you or you want somebody to come to you, but they're not ready for you. They need to go to somebody to help them with mental health, perhaps. Maybe they need to go to somebody to help them figure out how to better manage their time. Maybe they need to go to somebody to help them figure out how to eat better. If we think about ourselves as inevitable for the person who we're trying to help, provided that they start getting the help that they need, eventually they come to us. We don't have to rush.
Sean, does people come to you, let's say, for example, kids of the parents, like I did for my mom and on behalf of my mom, or the people in pain comes to you directly? Who do you see?
We would not have taken your mom in that situation. I'll tell you why. Before we take the client on, and by the way, it might have been a mistake, but it also might have been the right move. The reality is more often than not, what you did doesn't work. You're a unique person. Your mom is a unique person. The people you brought her to are unique people. typically when somebody brings someone unwillingly or unknowingly to an intervention, they're not necessarily bought in. And so it ends up being a lot of work. Yeah. So before we bring a client on, whether it's online or in person, and we do both, we're talking with them for in excess of an hour to 2 hours. The in-person people are 2.5 hours. It's a discovery call first to identify, do we think we can help you? Do we think we would enjoy it? And if the answer to that is yes, we invite you in for a consult. When it's online, this is for coaches, this is for gym owners too. The next call is, okay, let's get to the bottom of what's going on and figure out what the strategy would need to be to start supporting you. Basically an assessment.
Yeah.
And at the end of the assessment, we make an offer to you if we believe we're the right party to help. Before we make that offer, we ask a very simple question. We need to know a few things before we can determine if we really can help you. On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that we're the right people to do this? On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that the environment in which we're going to do this together, so you being remote, us being remote, you being at home, us being in New York, how confident are you that the environment is going to be conducive to you being successful? Question 3, how confident are you in our process, that our process is going to work, that the way we're going to do this is something you're going to enjoy, you're going to adhere to, is going to get the results you want? And then question 4, how committed are you to doing this now? If the person we're talking to gives us a score of a 7 or lower in any of those 4 questions, we do not make them an offer to enroll. Most people who teach sales would tell you, never let somebody go home to think about it. We demand they go home to think about it. Because what we tell them is, we do not want to be the company coming at a 10 when you're at a 6. So now we have to drag you up this hill that you said you wanted to climb, but really don't.
Yeah.
It's not ideal for either of us. So that's the long answer to the short question of, we need the person who really wants to help to come to us themselves. Gym owners, coaches, individuals.
And that's the reason why I asked, because a lot of people might not find that they need help there. It's like a story of the frog. You put a frog in the boiling water, it jumps out. Put a frog in the water and turn the heat up slowly and it dies, right? Being cooked. So people don't understand. They will blame, oh, it's age. I'm old. This is what it is. I got to deal with that and so on. Somebody younger might say, no. I usually pull up the picture and says, you want to see how 80 years old bodybuilder looks like? And pull somebody freaking muscular and in shape. And like, oh my God, looks like Photoshop. But that's reality possible with human DNA. We're just freaking destroy it along the way. But motivating this part, you love working. And that's kind of your benefit because you show them the whole process. You show them, like you said, skills, environment, process, and commitment. They need to start on it because, hey, my weight, there's another waiting. So I just want to make sure that I'm not wasting time with you. Because my is online and I want to make sure I have you on board before I jump on.
Yes. And we're expensive. And we're expensive, right? So if we have to convince you every time when it's time for you to renew that it's time for you to renew and it's a good idea, this isn't going to be fun. We're not here to be salespeople. We're here to help you.
And by charging the proper amount, you can dedicate time and resources to do this at the highest level. You're not spreading yourself thin. You're not running around fighting for your own life survival, right? You're leading by example. You're doing what you're supposed to do. So lessons for people who are listening, before you charge more, make sure you have the process, you have the skills, you have the environment, you have your own commitment to the work, and then you deliver results and you pick and choose who do you want to work with. Because like you said, I don't want to work with everybody. I want to work with people who want to work with me. Referrizer is giving your gym a special 90-day free trial of the Reputation Max package. Oh my God. With this, you can get 3 to 10 times more reviews, automate everything, and even use AI to help reply to reviews, all while keeping your gym safe from bad one-star reviews. This offer is only for a short time, and it's available for the first 10 listeners of each episode. Go to topratedgym.com/3 free months to grab this deal.
Can I give you a counterintuitive way to think about that also?
Sure, please.
For some people, what you just described is exactly right. And for other people, they will stay there for their entire life and never raise their prices because they never believe that they are valuable enough to raise their prices. One of my favorite questions to ask people is, what do you think the results you get for clients is worth? And they're like, oh, it's priceless. Like, it is? Yeah. Then why aren't you charging $150 a month for it? Just go ahead and charge them $500. Like, oh, everybody would leave. I'm like, it's not priceless, right? And that affords them the ability to start thinking about, why isn't it worth $500 a month? And so sometimes what I advise to people is the opposite of what you just said. Sometimes it's not right for everybody. Go ahead and raise your rates to the highest number that you can say without laughing. And then what happens is people will start to ask you a totally different set of questions at the point of sale. And what you'll start to find is, where are the gaps in my business? Why can't I do this price point? Someone will buy. And then you will start to service them and they will tell you, yeah, I can't afford this anymore, which the reality is they don't want to. And so now you can start to really ask, what was missing? Once the price goes to that high number, you are forced to bring your product value up to that number. And I'll give you a really, really harsh way to think about it. For the gym owners listening to this right now who are struggling financially, and you've been struggling for a long time, the trainers who are listening to this who are struggling financially, and you've been struggling for a long time, one of the things that I did in my business that was formative for me, painful, formative, valuable, was I came to the realization that if I don't charge a significantly higher price, I would never stop struggling. And if I did charge a significantly higher price and everybody said this isn't worth it, I'd either have to change my business or change my career. And so either way, no matter how it shook out, I was no more than 6 months away from living a different life.
Yeah.
Because I was going to find out, do you actually have a business here or not? And there are gym owner clients who've come to us who have put this proposition to. In one case in particular, a gym owner said, I've owned this gym for 6 years. I've never made money from it. And I have a job that makes me $100,000 plus per year. And I have 4 kids at home who I don't get to see because I'm trying to make this whole thing work. So great. I did the math. I said, why don't you double your rates? If you double your rates and you keep 2/3 of your members, you're profitable on day one.
Yes.
If you lose everybody, just close the business. Bring your equipment to your garage at home and invite the people you like from the gym to come work out with you whenever you want so you don't lose those connections. And enjoy your family and enjoy your job. He ended up closing the gym 2 months later. And people on the outside look at that and they're like, no, that's a failure. But if you got him on the phone, he would give you a raving testimonial that someone finally told him what he needed to hear and gave him the opportunity to enjoy his life again.
Do what you love, do results you're providing without overhead, and do with people you choose to have in your
Sure.
life.
It doesn't have to be what you do to make a living if it's not something that you're prepared to do what it takes to make a living doing.
So true. Money is never objection. It's a value that you compare to the money that people are pricing. I interviewed a guy who I believe has the absolutely most expensive training possible. It's like $2,400 a week for training per person, but it provides environment. You go in a resort and you're stuck there for multiple weeks. He controls morning, day, and night, and food, and calories, and program, and like mindset, everything. And people are willing to pay for it because they cannot get themselves. And those are incredibly obese people on a heart attack, days away to get them off the addiction, of the mental, physical, food addiction, and so on.
Yeah, we have a similar answer.
You gotta have the value that people, you gotta solve the problem. You gotta solve the problem, and you find your niche. You find the people who care about them.
I can tell you have a similar mindset to me in this. I like to say you have to overwhelm the problem. People often try to meet the problem where the problem is and do just enough to solve for it. And when you say solve the problem, I know because of the success that you have, you're not talking about solving problems. You're talking about overwhelming them so it's unreasonable they ever come back.
Yeah.
And if we can think about solving problems in that way, all of a sudden they're gone. You can't try to solve 5 at the same time. You just overwhelm one of them. We have an offer at our business in Long Beach, our brick and mortar. People pay $30,000. They come out for 3 days. They get evaluated for 10 hours on site. Then they go home. We send them home with some like a video screen technology so we can see them and they can see us. And it follows them around the room. And they come back 6 to 8 months later. And we're writing all of their program design. We're meeting with them on a weekly basis. And they pay $30,000 for the year. That includes 6 days on site here.
That's right.
And then it includes remote service thereafter. Those are people who are uncompromising in what their life is going to look like and just don't live local to us.
Mm. I love what you said. Solving problems people have, nobody speaks about.
Mm-hmm.
Because usually there's a deeper truth. If you ask right
Always.
deeper problem, there's always more than what they will say. You just
look for the pain behind the pain.
Look for the depth of it. And that's
Can I offer
the true motivation is.
Can I offer a great question to your listeners that'll help? Because one of the things I've heard people say when they want to get to like, what's the real reason is just ask why 7 times. That's incessant and annoying. So a question that I love to ask people to find out what the true root of what they want to solve is, I'll ask them, if that problem was gone, what would be different about your life? And they'll share, oh, I would go on vacation. I would go on more hikes. I would spend more time with my kids. I would, all these different things. Okay. So what I'm understanding is that what you're really asking me to help you do is ensure that you can go on vacation, that you can spend time with your kids, that you can go on hikes and enjoy nature. Is that correct? They say yes. And that is when, that's the moment right there. Right. Because there's a lot more gravity to that than, and why is that important to you? And why is that important to you? And why is that important to you? But stop.
Ask question and wait for the answer, because vacation means, oh, I missed them. I never been to them. I only see other people pictures, right? Hikes. I always wanted to go to hikes as a child. I never was able. I have all equipment. I never wear them. My kids miss me. They'll grow up without. And then why is that important for you? Right? It's like you are going back down to the core, and the deeper you go, the deeper they'll think. It was like, oh my God, I didn't even know.
Yep.
And don't ask 7 times. Practice that. And sometimes it's weird, but you dig deeper. Don't settle in. I love Tony does that very well. Tony Robbins at his seminars, and he goes to the level when people start crying.
Yeah.
People start crying. At the end is, I don't feel I'm good enough. Right? My life is never going to be the way that I want it. And when you find that it's a moment of decision, that's usually when you discover a moment of decision when destiny is shaped. When they go in, it was like, that's it. That's it. You helping them find, sometimes they don't even know, but you asking and walking through these questions, they find out what's driving them to that. Whoa. Now, I want to ask you a little bit different question. You know, we talked about people with the pain, people with the challenges here. But I also want to ask you about this, childhood obesity, processing food, these pains and problems start way earlier. One of your recent LinkedIn posts, you highlighted the link between processed food and childhood obesity and comparing them to cigarettes in 21st century. How do you think that fitness and healthcare industries can collaborate in combating this, let's call it, epidemic?
It has to start with wanting to. Today, I don't believe the fitness industry wants to. And I don't believe the healthcare industry is incentivized to. What I mean when I say they don't want to is you'd have to imagine anytime you say, of course I would want to help somebody like that. What are all of them? What if your whole gym was morbidly obese people? Would that be fun for you to go to work? Would you have to change the way you operate your gym? Would you have to perhaps change the furniture in your gym, the equipment in your gym, the way you program workouts if it's a group environment? Would you have to change those things? Would your marketing have to change? Everything has to change about the way you do things if that becomes your target demographic. And the reason that people like that are not walking into gyms is because no gym wants that to be their target demographic. It's nice to say it, but it's not true. You want the person to come in, whether you're a commercial gym or a gig gym, who is going to be easy to help. And if your entire business is not set up to help that person, they are hard to help. They break your system. And it takes some significant audacity to set your business up to help people that no other fitness business is trying to help, because there isn't a clear roadmap for it outside of what we are doing at Active Life. And so you have to be really sure it's what you want to do. And once you do, you're not going to get the athlete anymore. You're not going to get the bodybuilder. You're not going to get the fit person in their 20s. You're not going to get the transient person.
Yeah.
So you have to decide who you want to help. And I don't believe the fitness industry has come to the decision that that's who they want to help you.
You're right. You're right. I see your energy is at an incredible level and passion for what you're doing. Man, I want to know what does the 2034 look like for you? What is your goal? What is your goal for next 10 years? Let's say we are 2034.
If you asked me that 6 years ago, I would tell you I don't own a brick and mortar business. I'm not mentoring gym owners. I'm not even teaching coaches how to do anything. So for me to tell you where I'm going in 10 years is a very difficult thing. But what I can tell you is this: in 10 years, the result of what we have done will influence the way that people live. And there will be an industry that lives adjacent to fitness and healthcare. We used to say that we're the bridge between fitness and healthcare. We're not. A bridge is something that people want to ride on to get from point A to point B. I think the majority of our population would prefer to avoid both point A and point B. Point A being fitness and point B being healthcare. So we need to build something adjacent to both of them that is connected to both of them and that connects both of them to each other. So I believe 10 years from now, there will be an entire industry of people supporting the target demographic that we're supporting, setting their entire businesses up to help the people that we're supporting, because we will have proved so emphatically and undeniably that it is profitable, it is virtuous, it is fulfilling, it is repeatable, and it is possible.
Whoa, man, you know a lot about business and you know a lot about struggles and definitely about your industry. I like to ask you a question that I like to ask all my podcast guests. Leaders are learners, and you definitely seem like a person of passion for exploring. Tell me the resources you use to enrich your knowledge: books, podcasts, conferences, something that anybody else to do the same.
My favorite way to improve my personal skill set is to listen to biographies of entrepreneurs. I think we too often look for skills and too seldom look for attributes. And so when I go out and I listen to or read or watch content about the great entrepreneurs of our time and the time before us, you start to see common threads. Some simple things I've learned from doing that are these people are decisive. They make a decision and it's final. There is no going back. These people fail more often than they succeed. They just don't concern themselves with the failure. They don't do it the same way again. But they fail way more than they succeed. And you never hear about their bad ideas. But they had them. These people are simple. They keep things simple. If you try to sell people 3 ideas at the same time, they buy none. Sell them 1. These people are long-term thinkers. They understand, I'm still going to be doing this in 10 years. So us having a bad month right now sucks, but I'm not even going to remember it in 10 years.
Yeah.
These people are able to look at where the world is today and recognize it can be totally different tomorrow if I choose it to be. Where everybody else thinks they have to wait for the world to come around and give them opportunities, these are people who go ahead and create them. And so my favorite thing to do is to listen to the biographies of successful people, to read the biographies of successful people, to watch documentaries about the biographies of successful people, because there's so much to learn about where I am failing today from where they failed yesterday.
I read 3 biographies recently: Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, and one of the greatest warriors of all time, Alexander Macedonian. Mm-hmm. And what you describe here is literally everybody's attribute. They all simplify things. And I was at the point reading Elon Musk's biography, I was like, oh my God, This guy is incredibly simple. His stupidity index, how he justified development of the rocket. They call it, this is stupid, and then he measured how stupid something is. It's like, why does this part cost $250,000? This is not more than $5. Go buy it in Home Depot. I don't care. And simple to the moment when he says, oh, that's a NASA requirement. We got to use that there. Like, no, it's not NASA requirement. Somebody in 1965 wrote it. That's forgotten, and we still follow those rules.
That's right.
And like, that person doesn't even exist.
When we talk about the childhood obesity stuff right now, and this is something Jeff Bezos is very good at. Instead of looking at the problem you're dealing with, look at what created the problem that you're dealing with. And so right now, we have this childhood obesity issue. Why? Well, because we have all of these processed foods. We have all of this excess corn, wheat, rice, grain, all of it, and all to be fed to cows. Not even for us, it's for animal feed. And then the excess goes into our processed foods. And the only reason it's less expensive is because the government subsidizes the production of those big 5 crops. So why does the government subsidize the production of 5 big crops that make us sick? Well, if we go back to the root cause of that, in 1933, they wrote about the first farm bill, which was to subsidize the production of corn and wheat and grain to save the United States from the Great Depression. The Great Depression is over, my friends. It's over. And so that bill was created so that the farmers would actually throw out their excess crop, thereby decreasing supply and spreading demand and spreading out the fulfillment of demand. The government paid people to make less product.
Yeah.
So now they make the same amount of product and sell it to cows.
Yeah.
And then we have cows living on a feedlot. It's not how they live. It's not what they're supposed to eat, but not healthy. Healthy animals eat unhealthy animals for generations and become unhealthy.
Yeah, right.
And so if we go back to the beginning, right? Go back to the beginning. It's because somebody made a decision in 1933. There was a program for 1933. But my friends, it's 2024. It's time for new decisions. Yes.
Question requirements, rule number 1 from Elon Musk when you optimize any process. It's stupid how many requirements are imposed and never considered to change, shut down, or delete.
Yep.
And we see that in every place, every country. I think United States now produce 4 times more food than what we need for us. It's incredible. That's why we have obesity. That's why everybody's motivated to eat more than we supposed to. And it's creating problems of generations. Man, I love that answer on the source of the knowledge. Wow, man, you are incredible. I'm so blessed. And I gotta say, I thank you on behalf of this audience and the community.
My pleasure.
Today and sharing. I know we could have series of episodes talking here. I know you start with 2-day seminars that turns into 13 months course. I want to ask you, how would you like people to get in touch with you, with your program?
I would love
to join you.
If wherever you're listening to this from, whatever platform you enjoy using most, find me there. So I imagine my name will be on this, right? If you search my name on Instagram, I'll show up. If you search my name on Facebook, I'll show up. If you search my name on LinkedIn, I'll show up. If you search my name on YouTube, my company will show up. So find me wherever is most convenient for you.
That is incredible. For everybody, guys, I hope you enjoyed this unique, powerful, very, very outstanding episode of Top Rated Gym with one and only Sean Pastuch. And I gotta tell you guys, this is the probably episode that you'll click to share more than anything else. The episode that's gonna challenge your thinking, the episode that's gonna really give you a different perspective, eliminate all the limiting beliefs about many aspects of your life that you had so far. Sean, your gift to this community. Thank you so much for being here and for participating in Top Rated Gym podcast.
It's my pleasure, Andre.
If you are a gym owner looking to become top-rated gym in your area, visit topratedgym.com and grab our free 30-day reputation boost. That's topratedgym.com. I'll add it to the show notes for you. Don't forget to share this with your friends. Stay strong, stay motivated, and keep pushing your gym to the top. Until next time, this is Andre signing off.